if a player is going through a bad day? How do they clear their mind and still have a peak performance, for game day?
Well, it's hard. I mean, we see this happen in our Olympics that are going on right now, because in our thought, like if you think about it, like in order to keep aspiring to achieve at an incredibly high level, the athlete has to tune in to a lot of precision. And it's interesting because by being focused so much on that particular thing, other things become less in focus. It's a perfect analogy to think of like how you're tuning in a radio station. You got a lot of noise in it if it doesn't just get tuned in right. But the thing is, you're going to miss out on the other radio stations if you're too tuned into one particular station. And so, I think that's a good analogy for the idea that we want to help the athlete to be able to definitely focus when it comes to, them being able to turn that on. But that focus is going to affect other areas in their life. And so I think the key is to then try to see if there's any ways that we can help them to, to optimize those other functions in their life, to look at it holistically. And, I think that that's what the athletes I'm hearing from, are really focusing on saying is that, okay, we've been trained now to be so precise for sport performance that we don't have the time to allocate focus in a way that's going to be complementary. And if you think about it, like the way that we think, we always want to have a very objective, neutral way of thinking, just describing just the facts, and then have a positive bent to it, like some kind of enthusiasm or passion or, positivity to whatever you're thinking about at the end. So as an example, we have like a thing called motivational sandwiches where we'll do an assessment on the types of things that motivate. As an example, like we might have, some people are motivated by spiritual, God shining on me,
Yeah.
or they might be motivated by aggressive. I'm going to dominate. I'm going to destroy the competition, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
They might be motivated by pressure, like I'm not doing enough. I need to do more, stuff like that. Well, we found that like we can identify what types of things are most motivating, and some of them are healthy and some of them aren't. So, for example, if they say I'm going to dominate, you might have a social comparison that we want to try to avoid, and we want to talk with them about that. If I got a piano in my ass, then we might want to talk about the pressure and the things that the side effects that might have on your mental health. You know what I'm saying? Like, so like once we identify those motivational statements that work and we put them into a proper context, we'll have them share it with the other athletes so that they know what's going to motivate them. Because like what a parent might say might be very different in terms of motivation than what a friend might say, or a teammate or coach. And so they might want to hear different words from different people. And so that's what we assess as well. And then once we find that out, and I'll point this to, it's kind of cool. We do an exercise a lot of times where we ask them to rank the type of motivating statements. And so we'll say to one athlete who's very close to another athlete, hey, what is your buddy here going to be really motivated by that you could tell him? Which of these categories? And the person might say, oh, spiritual, goes to church all the time, real spiritual. I know that's what's going to motivate him the most. And maybe that person's even saying things, like God's on your side, stuff like that. But then you ask the other person, hey, is that right? And the person says, oh, well, actually, I like the aggressive ones. I really like to do that. Or maybe I like to feel like I'm an animal. I like to feel like I'm a cheetah that's running. And then we say, okay, so how come you didn't get that? How is it that you missed that? That you didn't even know what motivates this person ideally, and that's your best friend. And the person might say, well, we never talked about it. And that's when it really opens them up for an insight to say, well, you got to talk about how you motivate and what kind of things are being said. And that's important. So we kind of facilitate those discussions, and then we put it into exercises. So once we identify the thoughts that are motivating, we can then take an instruction. So if I was a track athlete, I might say, I'm going to dominate today kind of pause and then think, I'm going to run with my hands loose and open, and then come in with, and God shining on me. So that's how they might integrate it.